Dr Mathetha joining us from our money desk. Now, hello, Rupi, where you've been having a look at road infrastructure in particular. We know we've got huge infrastructure problems.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you think of the floods that happened in parts of the Western Cape this weekend, I'm sure that's done untold damage to roads yet again.
Absolutely, Sally. So the task has just become bigger for government and related stakeholders. And that has been the big focus for today, in that even though a new infrastructure management project will be launched in October this year, the country will need more than that to ensure the restoration of the road network, which is basically the bedrock of the country's economy. Currently, the agriculture sector and the different value chains have struggled to transport crucial goods, increasing concerns around food security. Dr Mathetha Mokonyama, who's the chairman of the Southern African Transport Conference, joins us this evening to unpack this issue and more. Thank you for your time this evening, Doc. And I've mentioned it in my intro that there will be an infrastructure management team that will be put in place in October to deal with a lot of the infrastructure issues that we face. And one wonders that probably won't be enough given the magnitude of South Africa's road network before we even begin to think about the rail.
Good evening, Rofua. Absolutely. South Africa has one of the largest road networks in the world, reportedly the 10th largest, road network. So you can imagine the magnitude of the problem that we have in terms of maintaining that road network. More than half of that network is with local government, and local government has minimal resources to take care of the network, and that is why we have such problems as potholes and poor maintenance, essentially, of the road infrastructure generally.
Doc, then what would need to happen to make sure that those at local government level leadership are getting the necessary resources, not only to maintain, but to further develop and restore parts of the road network that have been destroyed, whether it be by natural disaster or any other calamity that would have happened in that particular municipality? Where do we get those resources?
Yeah, it is a question that we seek to answer, at our conference in July, bringing all the stakeholders to look at ways in which we can, minimize the cost, for example, of constructing the roads and also the maintenance of the roads. One of the things that should be done early on is to measure, the status of the road network. A lot of the local government municipalities do not even know the condition of their network. So the first thing is to measure, and once we've measured, be able to prioritize the budgets that you have been allocated. So if you have to give local government billions tomorrow, many of them wouldn't know how to prioritize those billions because they have not measured, and therefore they are not able to prioritize those budgets. The other thing is provinces generate a lot of revenue from motor vehicle licenses. In fact, if that money was used to maintain the network, we wouldn't have the kind of problems that we have. But that money often finds itself into doing other things. So one of the things that we are going to discuss, at the upcoming, transport conference, is that revenue streams. How do you innovatively generate revenue streams, and how do you make sure that the money that has been generated by the transport sector stays within the transport sector? You do not divert it into other things.
Doc, will there be conversations around adjusting the road network because of the kind of rot that we have on our rail network? We've seen many more trucks needing to be used by different companies, whether it be mining, agriculture and the like, because the rail network just cannot accommodate them. Not only is using trucks expensive in terms of diesel, but it's weighing down on the existing infrastructure. So are there conversations around adjusting the current infrastructure? Or is there a conversation about how do we make sure that we can take Transnet's rail network back to a point where it works in conjunction with the road network?
There is a bill that is currently with the National Council of Provinces, Transport Economic Regulator bill, that will seek to essentially create balance between tariffs that are being charged on the roads and tariffs that are being charged on the rail network. One of the opportunities that we have is to make sure that the heavy vehicles that are on the road network are appropriately priced because they are the ones that actually reduce the lifespan of the road network. So we need to make sure that the tariffs that we charge the heavy vehicles is appropriate and is on par with the role of rail and road networks in our transport system. So there is an opportunity to do so. And you earlier mentioned this issue of food security. So if we do not attend to the road network, especially the unsurfaced road network, which is the bulk of the network, 80% of our roads are not surfaced. So we need to make sure that we attend to that so that the cost of doing business in the agricultural sector is reduced. At the moment, for example, the lifespan, one of the experiments that was done in one of the papers that was presented at our conference shows that the lifespan or the shelf life of a tomato can be reduced from 10 days to 2 days, depending on the quality of the road. So poor roads reduce the quality of the shelf life of produce. Even the maintenance costs. The maintenance cost of trucks on those poor roads is 5 to 6 times higher than on a good road.
Very interesting insights, Doctor. Thank you very much for your time this evening. That is Dr. Mathetha Mokonyama, who's the chairman of the Southern African Transport Conference, indicating there that the quality of the roads really does affect the quality of the produce that is transported across different parts of the country.